Huh? We had such an amazing Shabbos. In a way, it was a very heavy Shabbos, but it made us lighter. It's an oxymoron, maybe, or it's a contradiction, or it's both. It's a heavy Shabbos and a light Shabbos. There's so much emotion, so much feeling, so much information, so much chizik, so many classes, so many information, and inspiration. 30 seconds of inspiration. I'm not really the... Maybe I started the 30 seconds of inspiration, but I never trademarked it, so anybody could do it. Someone asked me this Shabbos if you could also use the same format of saying 30 seconds of inspiration every day. I told them I didn't trademark it. Adrab, everybody should do it. Everybody should use their voice. That's what it's made for. That's what technology is made for. In any case, Klal Yisrael is the most amazing nation. We all know that. Amoydige Volk, Klal Yisrael, Am Yisrael. Whenever we come to a new place, whenever we open a new town, whenever there's 9 Yidden moving to Wyoming, or within a few days there's going to be a shul, maybe 2 shuls. One shul where you daven, one shul where you don't daven. In any case, there's going to be a shul, there's going to be a chayder, a Talmud Torah, yeshiva right away. Wus me darf oben. After that, there is so we take care of the spiritual needs of the kehillah. Kashrus, kosher food, man macht alles, was kennen, wir sind erhoben. Zu können leben wie Ayid, to have what we need. Right after that, what opens up, we have Atzula. And Chavayrim, to take care of the physical needs, the physical body. If someone gets hurt, we have Atzula come, we have a whole... There's 9 Yidden, there's Atzula over there. We have Gemachim, we have Talmud, we have whatever it needs, Baruch Hashem, we always constantly set up new. Whenever we were in Gulas, we were going from one country to the other, we kicked out from one country, went to the other. Klal Yisrael never fell in despair. We always started anew, started fresh. We always had something new to do. There's one thing that we didn't have all the years, and Baruch Hashem, the last few years, Klal Yisrael started focusing on another need. Besides taking care of the need of the spiritual and physical of the Klal Yisrael, of the Yidden, there's a whole new awareness, is the need for emotional Hatzula. One of the things I got schlepped into the last 6-7 years is that I volunteer for Project Chai from Chai Lifeline. Project Chai from Chai Lifeline, whoever's familiar, I hope none of you are, it's for crisis intervention. If happens an accident or something like that, and we need to inform the parents about children or the other way around. We're the ones that are trained to talk to the family, to let them know all these terrible things that should never happen. What is it? It's the emotional Hatzula. Hatzula knows already, in Monsey for sure, where I live, whenever there's a tragic accident or something, they right away call Chai Lifeline as well. You don't just call someone to take care of the physical boo-boo. You take care of people that were standing by, were witnessing the trauma, people on the kids on the side. We recently had a 7-year-old boy that was witnessing something very tragic. Instead of him going home, having nightmares and turning into a nightmare, right away we were there, we sent in some volunteers, we talked to the kid, we help him process, it shouldn't be so traumatic. And B'siyat Shema is able to move on in life, at least to make his life better. We all know that we have to operate, and a mature adult has to operate through the mind, through the machshava. Moich shalat al alev. Whenever we make choices, I remember I was once in the Eish Torah in Yerushalayim when I was a teenager. I was in yeshiva there, in a yeshiva in Yerushalayim, and I used to go to Eish very often. I have a cousin there, Rabbi Mati Berger, from my family, so I felt close. I used to go every Sunday, sometimes Fridays, to sneak out of yeshiva. I used to go there and listen to I remember once Rabbi Mati Berger was talking to the whole class, and he said, Whoever's an adult should raise the hand. Whoever's a child should raise the hand. He said, nobody raised the hand when he said they were a child. Why? He said, we are all adults sometimes when we make smart decisions, and sometimes we make foolish decisions and we're a child. You could call it like the Sifrei Chasidus, Moichen de Gadlus, Moichen de Katnus. There are moments when we are in clarity. There are moments when the child in us is operating our body. Sometimes the Moich is, that's what. So what's the difference between a mature person and immature? A mature person is someone that's most of the time they're mature. Most of the time their decisions are based on cycle. But we all know, how many times we make conscious decisions, very logical decisions, and we don't end up acting upon our own decision that we made. Let's say if someone decides to go on a diet. It's a very conscious decision. You know, you need to take care of yourself. And you decide, you know what, for the next 6 weeks and the next 2 months, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to eat this, I'm going to eat that. The ganze diet, and very stark the first few days. So I'm going to give Yatzaharas here and then. You keep yourself back and you say, you mamish have a moide gekoiches gabris, you're moich in the gadlen. Then suddenly, your brother-in-law is making a chasana. You come to the chasana and you're in a good mood, everybody's dressed good, and it's a geschmack of music, geschmack of essen, and then comes out this big smorgasbord and it looks like, you know, today's days of Hashem, they designed the party plan as machas azoy enticing, and you go and you love that cake, you grab it in the estasof, and then the next day you wake up, you're like, what's up with your I just cheated on myself, I cheated on my diet, I ate. So get azoy geschmack, but look what happened. And then again. What happens? At that moment, your emotions were operating your system, not your cycle. It is an avoider to live more and more in the cycle, but we need to be realistic that we are emotional beings as well. And we need to tend to it. We need to be aware. I once heard from someone, I saw a shir, I forgot his name, it's a professor, and he gave up some method. I don't know why it didn't catch on as much as I would think that it should have. He has a program, it's called Think, Feel, Things Done. TFTD, that's how he calls it. Think, Feel, Things Done. What is it? He says like this, says a mushal. Let's say you come in, your desk is a mess. You come into your office, there's so many things you want to take care of. There's a chvaizus, tomorrow you're going to take off this pile and that pile and the other pile. And every day you come into work and it says, okay, I'll take care of it later. First you get to work. And you come in every day and it's a geschenknish. You make it, tomorrow I'm going to clean up. I'm going to make my office, I'm going to be masada, I'm going to buy new file folders, I'm going to throw that in the garbage and certain things I'm going to put away in storage, I'm going to be masada. And you try so many times it doesn't work. So what he says, his method is like this. He says, come into the room, look at your desk, and envision the desk, close your eyes, envision the desk being clean. For a minute, close your eyes and you see the desk clean. You walk into the office, visualize you walking in and the office is clean. You open up your eyes and you see it's a mess. He said, do it again, 2 times. Close your eyes, envision it, done. Feel it, get into the feeling, how it feels when I walk into the house and it's spotless and it's clean and the office is mesided. And your mom is enjoying it, and then your friend comes in with you, your eyes are closed still, you walk in and you see, samachaya, you can bring in guests, you can show people your office, there's nothing to hide. And you open up your eyes, what do you see? The messes do. He says you don't need to do anything else. Within the next few days, your hands are going to clean it up. Automatically. Why? Because your subconscious, your feelings, felt it done, and your feelings cannot stand walking into that room anymore as a mess. Try it out, it works. I once had a boy, after I got into this method, a friend of mine, I don't deal with kids, but a friend of mine's son was very, very overweight. And the parents were very, very worried for him, he shouldn't get issues, health issues or whatever, they didn't want, so they took a very different diets, this way and that way and the other way. So I told my friend, let me try this method with him. So I got this boy, knows me very well, and we're sitting there with his father, Mishmist, and I tell him, Macht sie Deugen. Okay, envision, which boy in your class do you want to look like in a year from now? And he was envisioning, I gave him like a whole chulam, and he sees himself in a half a year from now, he comes Pesach, his mother's buying him a brand new suit, he fits into his mamish. a geschmack in the suit, how he looks like in it, and how he runs up the steps, he doesn't have to breathe heavy, and he does alles, a whole chula, mamish, and I told him I want you to feel it. He was breathing and was feeling it, mamish feeling it. He opened up his eyes, and I told him, do you want to go and die? Do you want to get it done? I did it with him twice. A few months later, he was very skinny. It worked. Why is it? Because his feelings were maskim. When we undertake something, we need to understand that we have to do cyclic things, but we need to remember our emotions have to be maskim. If the doctor tells someone, next time you eat, someone loves sour pickles, and he says, next time you eat a sour pickle, it's going to eat you up, you're going to have such pain, and who knows you're going to die from it. The person, even is by a chassan and a good mood, and everything is amazing, his hands are never going to take that sour pickle. Why? Because his emotions are so worried, so scared, that even when his emotions are driving his body, his system, it's not going to let him do it. How many times do we see people it has to be balanced. How many times do we see a person deciding that they're going to go to the gym, go to the gym. If the reason is not strong enough, then you're going to lose the chayshik. But if you felt how it feels, you envision yourself how it feels when it's done, your system is going to help you do it. It's just going to help you do it. You're just going to get it done. So basically, our feelings are that's what makes us human. That's what makes us very human, is that we have an emotional system, a feeling system. This whole Shabbos, this Matzah Shabbos, this Havdula, everybody was in, Geschmack music. Feelings is, at the end of the day, we have to face it, that this is something that actually drives us many times more than our cycle. So if they're in sync, our emotions and cycle are in sync for something, we're going to get it done. If one of the two are not maskim, you're not going to do it. You always have to make sure that both of your systems are ready to do it. The police, when they arrest a shikid, a drunken guy, an alcoholic guy, he's walking down the street and he's drunk and they don't know what to do with him, they're allowed to hit him. They take out the stick and they hit him. Stand up, get into the car. Why? Because the emotional system, their cycle sleeps. When we drink alcohol, the cycle got schlufen. But the subconscious, the emotional system still works. And the emotional system is very scared of pain. You give him a shmas, it hurts him, he stands up, he listens to you. You could talk to him logically, his logic is not here. So if the emotional system is scared of something, you are going to end up doing it. Now what happens, where does the emotional system get built up? How does it get built? A little child is born, Hashem gave a moiridige chayin for a little baby. A moiridige matuna. The children, little babies, are taking from us, they're sucking every piece of koiche out of us. A whole night we're up, we're giving them. They're chayin. What are we really giving them? I can't talk to them, they don't know what's going on. You're giving them emotional support. You're holding them, you're patting them, you're kissing them, you talk to them, you're singing to them as they get older. Their emotions are being filled up and being given a very healthy, it's filling up healthy. Their physical also, we're taking care of their food, we're making sure they have food, all zadafen, and then we're taking care of the emotional system, the mental, everything. As we grow up, we go through the school, any chayder, there's always going to be a few kids telling you things, and suddenly your emotional system gets hurt. You get hurt once, you get hurt twice, another kid. I'm not even talking about bullying. Baruch Hashem, most of the world, not enough, became aware there's such a thing as bullying. We have to be careful. I work with Bucherim sometimes, and this Bucher last week, he came to me and he told me that he's being bullied in yeshiva. That there's a boy in yeshiva that has some issue. I guess he's in a wheelchair. I'm not sure what he said, but he has some. And other kids are making chayzik of him. They're chapening him. And this boy was telling me that mamish hurts him. I immediately called him and I told him this is bullying. You have to make sure that this kid could grow up to be. I remember my class when I was a kid. There was one kid in the class. He was funny. It was, I guess now we could look back and I could frame it and name it. I know things make sense already. But at that time, I remember the whole class used to make chayzik machvene. Oh, the Michiganers do. Oh, the Tzidreiter do. All kinds of names. And by now, I know where he is now. He's Taka Michiganer. he's out. He's not part of the normal culture. And the culture is, he's nebuch. So we're aware of bullying. But let's say not even that extreme. If a kid wasn't nurtured, their emotional system the way it should be, what happens is eventually it hurts them and it affects them. When a kid grows up and they were not violated, they had more or less a regular school system, more or less a regular home. Us parents are not always 100% of the time 100% perfect. We're only 80% of the time 80% perfect, and that is perfect. For perfectionists, I always say, perfect is 80. 100% is OCD. It's too much. Yes, 80 is perfect. 80% of the time, it's 80%, then you're perfect. That's good. So a regular child that grows up in a regular system, regular schools, regular friends, alles is how you get. So a person like that is emotionally quite stable. I always say when someone comes to my office and they sit down, or anybody I see three people. I see the physical person sitting in front of me. I see the emotional person sitting in front of me. And then I see the neshama, the spiritual person sitting in front of me. And I always check, is it balanced? There's a person that could be a 30-year-old walking into my office, sitting down. As a 30-year-old, he could talk logically like a 30-year-old, but the minute he starts talking about emotions, how he feels about his wife or his kids, and ich weiß nicht was, and his emotions start talking, I say, his emotional system is 7 years old. Sometimes his emotional system is 90, fine. But you could see the emotional system and the physical system is not always balanced. Most of the time it's not exactly balanced. And then he sees neshama is okay, which is not important for now, but different types to understand what's important for this person. And then his mental system. But we could see on a person, when you talk to them human, you see if they're emotionally in a mature place. If the emotional system is in a mature place and the physical system is in a mature place, a 30-year-old, and the person like that decides to undertake something. Let's say to go to the gym twice, to wake up for talks every day morning, 6 o'clock, and daven and shira, and to do everything the way he decides. It goes 1 week, another week, and then it rains, and then he goes late. What happens? As I said before, if your emotional system is maskim, it's going to help you do it. If not, not. The Baal Shem Tov, now it's Matzah Shabbos, I need to talk from Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov was 300 years ago, about. He was very, very early in the world to be aware and to talk about the emotional system. Of course, it was a very logical school of thought. The Baal Shem Tov and his Talmidim with brilliant people. But one of the things they were very aware is a person is made out of emotions. And you need to, if you want someone to be Oved Hashem, you can't just be technical. And you can't just do what you got to do because you have to do. If not, you're going to go to Gehenna. If not, you're going to go to Gan Eden. And this whole system, he said it's not going to work. We need to make sure that people are emotionally in a healthy place. They're going to end up doing the right things. They're going to be Oved Hashem. If not, not. You can give Mr. Drushas from today till tomorrow. It's not going to penetrate. But if the people are going to be aware of their feelings, they're going to connect to their feelings, they're going to make sure that their emotional system is in a happy and stable place, at Tazan Oved Hashem. And you could see throughout all the Sifrei Chasidus, from the Talmid of Hashem, they constantly talk about this avodah. There's a story, again, Matzah Shabbos of Mezugah Masas. The Tzan Zeruf was nifter. And his son, one of his sons took over, was the Shinah Zeruf. At that time, when the Tzan Zeruf was nifter, there was many different Rebbelich became Rebbes. There was a lot of Rebbe Einiglich. As long as the Tzan Zeruf was a Rebbe, Tzan Zeruf was like Rash Kebag, at least in his neighborhood, in Poland, in Galicia. And while he was a Rebbe, nobody would proclaim to call him, how do you call yourself a Rebbe? You're going to sit over noon together, that sounds Zeruf. It's like, you felt like you couldn't. He was nifter, all the Rebbelich became Rebbes. Many shuls opened up, and jeder tzchungti was, jeder go on a Rebbe. So the Shinah Zeruf, his son said, when the light lässt sich aus, when you turn off the light, all the rats come out. What did he mean to say? Kipshita. Only Tzimtzum is Kipshita. Nish Kipshita. We said Nish Kipshita. So, what did he mean to say? He meant like this. In the olden days, he had tents. He wasn't so sealed, the homes like today. There were mice and rats. When he closed the lights, he used to come out and eat up all the food. There's a derech in Avodas Hashem, which the Baal Shem Tov taught us. He said, keep open the lights. The rats are never going to come out. There was Svarim, and Baladashuna before the Baal Shem Tov came, and they used to tell people all the rats that they have in them. You have this Tavis and this Avoid, all your Schwachkeiten and all the Chosroinis that were telling you, you have to work on Gava, you have to work on Tava, you have to work on Lashon Hara, you have to work on this and on that. We all have a lot of rats. We have a Nefesh HaBahamias. We have a lot of bad parts to us. But when we're in a good mood, have you ever heard someone talk Lashon Hara, talk about other people and gossip if they're happy and zufrieden mit sich? Usually not. When we're down, when we're broken, it's zerbrochen, you're not happy. Suddenly you realize, Yenem's chesroinus, this chesroinus. If you see someone talk a lot of Lashon Hara, a Hasidic Yid would go over to him and say, Betuna shred Lashon Hara? No. Tayyid, how can I help you? Das Panusse, you're missing a job. Was fehlt dich? When a person is happy, they feel satisfied, they feel happy with themselves. Their emotional system is happy. You don't end up doing Avaidus. So the Baal Shem Tov said, keep the lights on the whole time. When the Tzanziruf was on, the light was on. Later, Zarozgi came and all the rats, and everybody's... What happened? This was one of the avoiders that the Baal Shem Tov wanted all of us to work on. Is that we need to be aware of our own emotional system, that we need to be emotionally stable and happy and calm. And only like that we could be an Oved Hashem, and only like that we could be successful in all our endeavors. But the moment a person becomes zerbrochen, wary of themselves, insecure, you're out. There's a bekannte word from Rabbi Shloime Kalina. He said that the Yetzer Hara does not want, when the Yetzer Hara tries to get you to do an Aveira, he doesn't want your Aveira. He wants your atzvus after the Aveira. He wants you to be broken afterwards, to say, look at myself, I fell through again. I'm such a, what's with me? And you get broken, you get zerbrochen, you go into atzvus, that's the moment you start doing even more Aveiras. So what was the method of the Talmid of Hashem? You did an Aveira, say Slach Luni, forget about it, and move on immediately. Don't sit in it. The Moranaim, Rabbi mentioned Moranaim Friday night. The Moranaim brings that when the Rambam says you have to do Tshivas HaMishkal, you have to look back and you have to do Tshiva the same, he said it doesn't apply anymore. You should have to. He says you need to just move on. Because as long as you're thinking of the Avaida that you did, it's still in your head. And when it's there, you're tzebrachen and you're broken, you're hurt, and you're upset at yourself, and your emotional system is fractured, you're going to end up doing Aveidas, you're going to end up being bitter. So the größte Avoide von a Yid is zu sein besimcha. Was meint sein besimcha? Besimcha means to be aware of our emotional system should always be in tune. And that's why when you daven, you look at the words, the articulation in the Hasidic Sfurim was always, davening should be with a slahavas, with a fire, with a burn, with a geschmack, with a bren. Everything should be, your davening should shake. This whole shaking by davening started from the Hasidim original. It was always to do something, not just daven like you have. Alles soll sein mit a geschmack. And even when you eat your Shabbos seed, it soll auch sein mit a geschmack. Even when you eat something, you machst a bruch in eure Priwaitz. Whatever you do, it soll sein mit a geschmack. If you do everything with the simcha, with the geschmack, you can end up doing everything right. So this is the idea that if we want to be successful in life, or if we want our children and people around us to be successful, it's constantly we have to be in tune with the feelings. So now, if someone misbehaves, when we behave a certain way, it's because we feel that way, right? We know that. If you feel hurt, if you feel broken, if you feel scared, you behave that way, right? Let's say you walk into Walmart, and you go shopping, and suddenly you hear, bang! And you look up and you see a little smoke by the corner. What happens? In your brain, you just made a decision. Danger. So what happens? You feel danger. You feel it's a dangerous place. What happens afterwards? How do you behave? You run. You run out of the store. Right? It's all happened in a second. But what happens is your behavior is an outcome of your feeling. You had a feeling that it's danger. Again, there's two types of people, fight or flight. The fight people are going to run and try to see what it is. Maybe we can help. And the other people are going to run out. But there's going to be an action according to your feelings. So if someone does something, it's a reaction to their feeling. In the olden days when I was a chayder, Rabbi Russell's son-in-law was talking about when he triggered me. I was very, very hyper kid. I was never chitzpedik, never bad kid, but I was hyper. Very hyper kid. I was lebedik. how much petch I chapped in my life for that. In any case, what was the idea? Die Halse Schmidt, a phrase, this, a phrase. What was the idea? In the olden days, Baruch Hashem, every 10 years is like a century. So when someone misbehaved, we reacted with their behavior. We reacted to their behavior. Nowadays, we should at least focus on their feelings. If they if they behave a certain way, don't react to their behavior, because then you're also not behaving. You also did something wrong. You patched him, you also did something wrong. What are you teaching him? So that when his sister doesn't behave, he patches her. You ever seen that? In certain houses where nobody patches, the kids don't patch. The parents slap, the kids slap the other kids. You're teaching them. So this is reaction. You react to an action with an action. But the real way is to react to an action by changing their emotion, their feeling. I remember my little daughter once came home from school, and she was chapping this one and that with the little kid. And my wife, I came home from work, and my wife tells me, I don't know what's the chama today. She's hurting all the kids. I spoke to her, I punished her, I spoke to her. So I right away chapped. I sat down on the dining room on the couch. I said, Nechama, come here. I started asking, how was the school today? I gave her 15 minutes of attention. I didn't mention to her a word about her behavior. I was interested in her. I was listening to her. This girl, that girl, this girl. She walked off my lap. She was in the best mood for 3 hours after, until she went to sleep. Alles again beside it. What happened? She behaved. Does she do it every day? No. If they do it every day, that also means that they're very hurt. That's a red flag. When a kid doesn't behave, it's a red flag. You don't react to their actions. You don't get angry on their actions. You have rachmunis. You get sympathy on their feelings. And if you're a Baal Madrega, you can even do it for another Yid that's misbehaving. Even if it's not your child. That's keeps it on the shield. Someone nervous today. I get near Moshe, you look so good today. Smachste. I missed you yesterday. Where were you? Suddenly the guys get the mood. Alles to the side. But at least to ourselves, we need to realize that sometimes if we behave a certain way, we're nervous. Why am I nervous? What happened? Oh, I heard something before. Oh, okay. We change our feelings, our behavior changes. This is an awareness. This is something that we need to check. I was talking to Malamdim and Achai de Mansi, and we'll talk about difficult children, how to deal with different issues. And I was talking about this concept. Every single Malamed, you wouldn't believe it, the next 2 weeks were calling me and texting me, I have a whole new class. I'm a Malamed for 10 years already. I don't know, everything changed. He doesn't have to scream, he doesn't have to raise his voice. If someone misbehaves, it's because they feel threatened, they feel unimportant, they feel violated, they feel whatever it is. Change their feelings. How do you change their feelings? By talking to them, giving them attention, showing them that they're important. The moment you change their feelings, their behavior is going to change. We are dealing with kips. For those of you who don't know what kip is, the world calls it OTD. On der derech. A kip is really in pain. Why? Not all the time we'll be able to know. But regardless what it is, if someone behaves different than they were born and raised, different than their family, different than everything else, there is something bothering them in their emotional system. We have to be Einstein sometimes to figure out what it is. What is in this kid? I'm giving him all the love in the world, and 5 years already, and I'm still doing. Hard to know. But their behavior is not who they are. Their behavior is not what they're trying to do. They're not trying to misbehave. Nobody ever said, today I'm misbehaving. I'm going to kick every boy in Chayt, I'm going to pull his pious, I'm going to do whatever. Nobody ever makes that decision. If a boy walks into class and he sees the Moshe and Chaim talk a secret and showing on his face, in his brain, he just decided they were laughing at him, making fun of him. So what does he feel? Feels like insignificant, like a shmata, whatever it is, the feelings that whatever word is going to provoke in his system, and he's going to start behaving that way. If he is the person that by nature usually caves in, he's going to get quiet, mute, or turn red, be angry the whole day and not going to talk. If he's the aggressive type, he's going to fight with everybody. But either way, whatever system this person has, this boy has, it's still going to come out of an emotion that he had. But if we tell our child, say, I'm in it, he comes over to you and says, the manal calls and it says your child misbehaved 1 day and another day and 2 days. And you say, Tzaddik, what happened? Or girl, Tzaddikus, what happened? Was it geschehen? Go nicht. Right? That's the first answer. Go nicht. Okay. Your Rebbe said that something is bothering you. You don't repeat what the Rebbe told you, that he was misbehaving and he was hurting and he's a schlechte Engel. Say, your Rebbe said that something is bothering you. What's bothering you? Do you feel that you're a second-class citizen in the class? Do you feel like you're not part of it? Is there someone championing you, someone bullying you? Do you feel that you don't know the lamidim? You don't know what's going on? What? As soon as they are able to say it, hopefully, or even if they see that we're interested to knowing how they feel, sometimes that alone is good enough. They're going to end up changing their behavior. So what happens if someone's emotional system was really hurt, was violated by a perpetrator or just life, different things sometimes happens to people? Then it's not just good enough to have a schmooze with them and try to put them into a good mood. Our kids, the kids in pain, their wound is sometimes so deep that they can't even tap into it. It's not like the regular kid, everybody's regular. Everybody's irregular, everybody's regular. But we talk about, just for conversation purposes, a regular kid, you put him into a good mood. Like I said before, you talk to your child, you put him into an analysis. There's something deep inside their system that's mamish hurt. And sometimes just by talking to them and we're trying to be rational and giving them love, there's something missing. How do we heal that? How do we do that? I feel that sometimes it turns into an addiction. Let me explain. An addiction is something that brings dopamine into the brain, sometimes a different stuff, and makes you want to repeat it because it's some kind of runaway or gateway, a pleasure that you're trying to seek. You're running away from something and you want to find the pleasure over there, if it's alcohol or drugs or something else. In the Torah language, it's called Hergel Nasa Teva. Hergel means something that you're used to doing. You do it again and again. You become it. Nasa Teva, it becomes second nature. Hergel Nasa Teva. If you do something repetitive, it's going to end up becoming part of you. So all the Swedim say, if you're a stingy person and you have a lot of money, you want to give tzedukah, give a penny a day, and then tomorrow give 2 pennies, and next day give 3 pennies, and then $1 for tzedukah. Your body gets used to doing something, then it's able to help. You're able to become about tzedukah. Sometimes we get addicted to our pain. This is what happened probably the first 30, 40, 50 years after the Holocaust. Klal Yisrael was going through so much pain as a nation, as a unit. We got addicted to it. We got zigeweint. Like I see when sometimes people will move to new neighborhoods, like a Muncie and different places, we could expand, and some people need to build the ghettos again. It's like it's in our DNA, it's in our city. We got used to it. The city, if you don't have a choice for Steich, we get used to it. Even in Etzisrul, a different place where there's so much place, there's something in us, we got used to it. Some people have a fear of success. They were told they can never be successful. On one hand, they make up a cheshbon, they're going to go into Panus, they're going to do this and that. There's something in them that's always going to do something wrong, and you're not going to be matzlich. That's what happened. Look, if not for that, I would have made it. There's something in people sometimes that we don't want to be matzlich. Psychically, we want to be matzlich. Our emotional system does not want to be matzlich. It does not want to succeed. Why? We got addicted, and we know how to live over there. Some people are very comfortable being even in the Goyish world, they're used to living in a very low neighborhood. You come to them, you talk to them, I can make you rich, I can bring you they'll be excited for a few moments, but their system is going to make them do wrong. They're going to lose their job again, something in their subconscious is going to make them do it wrong again, because they know how to live in the hood. That's the way they call it. They know how to live over there. He doesn't know how to operate between rich people. He doesn't know how to operate between successful people. So every person in the world has a certain circle around them where they feel comfortable over there. They would never go between people that are greater, Talmidei Chacham, more successful. They're going to always surround themselves with the same people, more or less in their circles, because over there they know how to operate. They know the lingo. They know it's comfortable. So some people want to be successful and move up the ladder, but their subconscious has a fear of it. Why? Because they got used to it. Our children, and many of us, probably most of us have it somewhere, where we want to be matzliach. We want to do things. We have a fear of being skinny. We have a fear of joining the gym. We have a fear of really being successful and moving up the ladder, going into between whole new circles of people and avodah. If someone was violated, Hashem Yirachem, in the most horrible way, things that we spoke about throughout Shabbos, it was all kinds of abuses and different types of stuff. We need to send them for therapy, for trauma and everything, but there's something in there sometimes that they got used to it. Some people like to be a nebuch. You ask them, they say, no, I don't want to be a nebuch, I want to get out of this. A lot of people that come, there was a Yid that came durch Geld from Yerushalayim to America, and he came 1 year, every child he marries off, kept noch einmal liften in besmedrish, and sat with besmedrish, and vision to besmedrish, got durch Geld, 5 cents, 10 cents, $1. He's here for 2 months, away from his family. He finally say, ich weiß, macht $10,000, so he goes back to Yitzhak, and he's... So there was this Yid, told him, the Weiss, that Moshe, chanach munas of the here already the 5th time, you still have another 6 kids. I have a brother-in-law in Yerushalayim. He owns a nursing over there, and he's looking for someone to be a manager. You're going to make panusa. You don't need to know have some very high credentials. You could do it. He got all excited. True story. He got all excited. He said, okay, fine, Chil. He hooked him up. He went back. He couldn't see him. And he forgot about him. A few years later, the Yid kept noch einmal up, but it was mad. He kept noch Geld. He had Ramosh. It was got food. What happened with that job? This and that. This person told me, some people are so used to it. He's 3 generations doing it already. They got so used to it. This is where ich bin. People label themselves. They get addicted to that label because they're used to it and because it's hard for them to go out of it. And that's the way they live. So what's the method? The Baal Shem Tov says, when you see a Rusha, he didn't like the word Rusha ever, but when you see a person that does everything wrong, you call him tzaddik. Why? You're helping him change his label. People have labels in their brain on themselves. I'm a $200,000 type of a guy. I could make $200,000 a year. That's who I am. I'm not the type of guy that can make $500,000 a year. So I once heard from someone that talks to salespeople. I forgot his name. He says it's Encyclopedia of Sales. And he says over there, if someone goes into sales, let's say you want to sell a product, you want to sell an item, and you're selling Judaica, so you're going to the food, so you make a cheshbon, I'm going to sell enough products, I'm going to make $30,000 a month on sales. He goes out, he goes from one food store to the other, and he shows the products, and he wants to sell them. And the moment he made $30,000 in sales, even if it's only the 3rd week in the month, his subconscious is not going to let him say, he's still going to go to stores and try to sell the product, but he's not going to have the right words. He's not going to make more sales. But if he ups his self-concept, and he says, I am a $50,000 salesperson, by $50,000 is more. I need to make more. Again, we can't raise the bar too much because then we fall and we give up. So we constantly have to raise the bar a little bit. So that's what on ourselves. But the Baal Shem Tov says, if you want to raise someone else's bar, you want to say, I'm a type of guy, I'm not Michal Shabbos, but I am every person has their self. Someone told me he only has a self for Shabbos, but he doesn't smoke, and the other only drives when his friend drives in the car. And it's alles heilig. But everybody has their own concept. I'm a type of guy, I have 1 hour every day is my shir. 2 shirim every morning. And one guy's like, I'm not the type of guy to have, just in the morning and at night, a shir, and during the day I have another shir. Everybody's a self-concept of how much rachnis they should do and how much gashmis and how much they're going to do. But if someone's self-concept is so low, their self-concept is that they need to belong between the lowest friends, to do self-harm, to surround themselves with other kids that are doing the most silly things. They all know that it's silly. We don't need to tell them, as I said on Friday. We never need to tell our kids what they're doing wrong. They know. If something is driving them to go between the kids, because that's their label. They have a label in their subconscious that I am, my concept, my self-concept, my circle, where I belong is between these low lives, between these losers. What do? You change the label. You call them tzadikul. You know how chushev you are. Someone said in the Shabbos and Mezbesh, one of the speakers He said a moidige master from one of the tzaddikim, I don't know who, that the last generation, that someone came to him and he said, Rebbe, I think it was Rabbi Spinker, if I remember. He said, Rebbe, my son started smoking, he's going to Machal Shabbos. He was crying. So the Rebbe said, bring him to me. I don't know if I want to come, bring him to me. He came, and the Rebbe said, Tzadikol. Again, a Chassidish Rebbe. Tzadikol. Tairid. Tell me, Rebbe, you don't want to talk to me. Ich bin am Machal Shabbos. I'm on Machal Shabbos. He says, what do you mean you're Machal Shabbos? He says, I smoke Shabbos. He says, really? How many cigarettes do you smoke? On average, 10 cigarettes a day. Okay. How long does it take you to smoke a cigarette? 3 minutes. Oh, so only a half an hour in total of every Shabbos, you Machal Shabbos. The other 23 and a half hours, you keep it Shabbos. You know how chushev you are. It's not all or nothing. But Lamasa, he gave him a concept. This boy went home and he started thinking, I'm going to smoke only 5 cigarettes next Shabbos. And I'm going to be keeping Shabbos 23 hours and 45 minutes. And whoever said the Master over there said that young man is 3 Chasne gehat, Kinder, a beautiful Yiddish family. How did it happen? Where did it come from? It all came from that little mezhbish from the Baal Shem Tov and his Talmidim and his teachings, where they brought awareness of feelings. How important a person feels is how it's going to impact on their avodas Hashem. And he told them, "Wie chushe de bist." Focus on the fact that he kept Shabbos 23 hours. Du weißt das meint? How easy is it to say these shaygets? How easy to say? And sometimes we don't have to say, they feel it. If we don't even think that way, they're not going to feel it. The problem is that sometimes we're so scared to tell someone you're good because you feel that, they're not going to want to go better. It's not true. We are pleasure-seeking beings. Our neshama is roots in this. It's always pulling for more pleasure for Tanik. We always want more and more. We don't need to be scared that if we're going to tell our kids, learn 10 minutes talk, I'm not talking about the kids, even before that. Why are we scared to say it? Because we're going to think, this is genig. It's not true. If you have $10, you want to make 20, goes on Rochnis and Gashmis, and any successful. You don't have to be scared. Hanish Moira. The Gemara sagt, Afila Pasha Yisrael, the Pasha Yisrael, Malayim mitzvahs keriman. They're full of mitzvahs like a pomegranate. Pomegranate is full of healthy seeds, full of self, of his essence, of the seeds of the pomegranate is the whole thing. Afila Pasha Yisrael, Malayim mitzvahs keriman. Why is the Gemara tell this us? Because this is the way we should talk to them. And usually our kids, all these kids, are usually, not all the time, are very big Baalei Chasudim. They love doing chesed. A person needs to feel somewhere good. They take their friend as a flat tire, they're going to go in the middle of the night and they're going to help each other. This is amazing. The friendships, the nun shav, what they do, the chesed between one another. Let's elaborate on that one. This is something that's going to speed up their process if we help them and we tell them, you are amazing. Sag chesed. You think we need to tell him you put on a tattoo? He doesn't know. She doesn't know. We need to tell them that you look like Peter Meruf, that you decided to spray paint your hair green and blue. Literally saw a boy like that last week. What is that boy saying? What is that boy saying? What is he telling us? What is he telling his parents? To spite, rebellion, hate? Most of the time not. His self-concept is that he belongs between the hippies. He walks down Soho in Manhattan, he feels at home. Over there, you don't need to have language, you don't need to have nothing, no credentials, you fit in. All you need to know is, hey, what's up, and that's it. And I feel, this is the ganze Sache, man klappt sich in den Rücken, man hockt sich. It's so easy to be in that circle. And our circle is very complicated. You need to know things. You don't forget you forgot that it's Matzah, and you didn't say, everybody. There's so many details you need to know, and the second you're not in, you lost the whole. It's hard for them sometimes. Certain kids went through the system, the Chayda system, great Chayda system, but they didn't catch on to things. So they always feel, I'm always going to be a failure, because to be Ehrlich, and there's so much things that need to work. In our community, in the Chassidish community, it's probably in the Heimish and the Yeshivish also, we all have this garb. It has to be white, it has to be black, and a bislazoi. I don't know if you know. My mother's a regular American lady. And I remember when I was bar mitzvah, we went shopping, and then she got me a sweater, and it had like a thin red line, very thin. Tmimas. And I put it on with tmimas. So I came to Chayda, I went to a very Chassidish Chayda. I was so chepet, I threw that sweater out, I never wore it again. You know, like they say, if like a Batshiva comes to the Chassidish community, everybody's going to know in a second. He could be 20 years, but he's not going to know that the pious this short that a Bieber head doesn't work. But if it's a quarter of an inch, then you fit in. And if there's so many nuances on the levish, and if you have a taste to, you're a type of guy that wants to look good, you want to look fit, you want to take care of it. You have that nature. You have also a tzaddik nature. You ostracize, you're out, you have no way. I keep it on this shiny glazer. Okay, the phone call, dan zien als shy gets it's in gold in the glazer. I don't know, gold is already good now. I think now it's plastic the issue. I had a couple that came to me in second marriage, and one of the kids are from one culture. I'm not going to say names. One Chassidish culture, the other, and she has bucherim and he has bucherim. His bucherim go to yeshiva where you're not allowed to wear plastic, because the plastic is more madness. And his kids, the bucherim, are only allowed to wear plastic because gold and silver glasses is medei and is metunish. So he says, no, it was a serious issue, and they discussed it. It was Tipmandu. The kids are like, these shy gets. So mama, she was us. I remember when I was a young bucher, when I was bar mitzvah, I went to Square Chayder in Borough Park. My father's on Square, but it was considered neutral at that time. I don't know if you know, there's cuffs on the pants on the bottom. At that time, cuffs was the most modern thing. When I was bar mitzvah, it was gefährlich. And so there's a few bucher that wanted to be a little more chic, a little more updated. Or they are from Tamimas, they didn't even know. They're shy, it was just happening. 2 years later, cuffs was the most Hasidic thing for years, for many years. Maybe it's got cuffs, but it can't be the thin one. The thin one is the cool guy. It had to be like an inch. 3/4 of an inch was tishing away you had no chance of survival in this jungle of yeshiva. You were out, you didn't fit in. Imagine just on Levish and a learning, if you're not on par, everybody needs to know this Gemara Bahar, that, and you're not pinklich. There's so much that they need to fit in. It's so much easier for them to lower the level, have a lower self-concept. Between the Geschmack Chevre, was an nicht in yeshivas. Over there is easy. All you need to do is be friendly and talk the lingo and say Ken and I know all the names. I'm with the boys. Showing you're good. You don't need more. Can we make it less complicated? Can we make it less complicated to fit in to our house, our home, the way it's supposed to look, a Shabbos table? How many kids have ate? They don't want to sit for an hour and a half or for 2 hours or 3 hours of Shabbos meal. They're not interested in hearing the Tata Darshan the whole time. They don't like the songs bezingt. Change it. How many times I sit for Shabbos, I ask my kid, Hype the and Kol Makaz, if you want, you sing it, you start. I translate most of the Zmiras. I had a mission just a half a year ago. Every Shabbos, I took one piece of the Zmiras, I translated, I sang it in Yiddish. My kids speak Yiddish, English. I translated the ganze shtick. It's like they have no idea what they're saying. We got to shield, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, we got to shield, 90% of the davening, we don't know the touch of food. So someone doesn't want to do it, he's considered the problem. Why is he considered the problem? He doesn't want to just say abracadabra. It's not going to work. So you make it interesting. You make the Shabbos meal interesting. You ask them, you sing updated songs. I know for the older generation, the new songs is shaygets. Generations, mamash, forget about it. The nine, Naginim, Hashem likes only certain tunes. The other tunes, he's out. Like certain colors he doesn't like. He's very, Hashem is colorblind. He doesn't like certain colors, certain tones, because the moment he gets out, it's teugnished. Guess what? If this inspires them, let it be. How many of us, me and older, I'm 40-something, and the 50-year-old, 70-year-old, where we had parents that were children of Holocaust survivors, or themselves are Holocaust survivors, they still had a certain pain. And sometimes ernst neginim, varim neginim, are not so varim, not so ernst. It has a lot of sadness in it. I never chapped it until I'm with these boys and I chap. They says, "Azah sad nigen," and I said, "Sad, it's varim." What is varim? So they explained with different songs that are take. Varim chassidische song, right? They were song the Bashentov's nigen. Some says the Chayz is Bashentov. At least one of the tzaddikim. It's ernst, it's varim. But it's not sad. It's hope. It's singing, and But many songs are very sad, and today's generation, the kids can't stand it. They get ungewarmt from a rap. I once heard from someone who said, maybe David HaMelech had rap, because rap is not repeating one pusik 1,000 times. Our Naginim is you repeat. I know, right? And you take sometimes Tehillim, every mizmah, the David mizmah, the David, every piece was a niggin. So it wasn't repeating, mizmah, the David, Hashem, Roy, it was probably rap, I don't know. and they knocked over there on that little jambas, and that's how it worked. Who decide, if this opens up the right emotion in the person, let it be. You decide it's a wilde music, Shaygitz, I don't know, what? Let's see what it does to the person. How many times you see this, I make this chaviras to the Bocher and I sit over there, and they sing these songs, I don't know where it came from, I don't want to know. And they're all in, and I think to myself, amazing. To me, it's like, oh, get me out of here, but it's okay. I like new songs, but the songs that they sing is sometimes already, for me, it's too far. It depends where it brings them. So if they are able to connect, this is what talks to them, Gesundheit. So we need to think about our children and the next generation. They need to have it should be easier to zan ayid, to be part of the culture. It doesn't have to be so cookie cutter. You ever been to a cookie cutter machine? There's this conveyor belt and every piece that goes through it, the star cookies, million star cookies. Wow. Some people want to be individual. They want to be a bissla zoy. Let it be a bissel brighter. Some kids need different types of language, different kinds of clothes. And everybody wants a long, some people like this. Our conveyor belt needs to be wider. It can't be completely wide. It has to be wider. Our kids, sometimes if we tell them, and we raise their self-concept, it's going to change their life, mamash. It's going to change their life, and it's going to bring them to a place, because we're changing their feelings, we're changing their self-concept, and we believe in them, and automatically they believe in themselves, and suddenly they're going to want to surround themselves between other people. They're going to want to be between better people, higher class people, and for ourselves, we can do it to ourselves the same thing. We should constantly strive to be more. Person is comfortable. I met a Yid over here Shabbos, he told me he makes $200,000 a year, every year, beautiful. I was thinking to myself, maybe you can make $250,000 a year. Who stopped it over there? What's the geschehen? If you would need another $50,000 a year, you would take another job, you would do something, you would speak up to your boss, you would try to get a raise. Sometimes it's in every way. So some people are comfortable. I am 40 pounds overweight. That's who I am forever. They decided, no, today I'm going back. I'm going to be, where does that come? Because we get comfortable, we get used to it, and this is what we do, and this is our self-concept. So if we want to change someone else, ourselves and our children, is by changing their label and upping their self-concept. They should look at themselves as a besser mensch. Any questions? I'm the Psakasha. Chanani ben Akash. That's why we say Chanani ben Akash. Yeah,
the visualization process that you were describing earlier. Right?
Yeah.
To imagine it.
Oh, yeah. I knew people were going to catch on that one. Yeah.
How long is it? How many minutes? Is there a process or a mahalach? How long to do it? Or
yeah,
meditation?
No, it's not a meditation. It's just the idea is to get to a place where you feel it done. Feel it done. Your system is going to want to go back to that feeling. Our feeling always wants to go back to a good place where it was. So even our cycle knows what is right. We know that. We know where we want to get to, we know what we want to do, we know what we want to accomplish. But our emotions have to feel it done. It's going to help you get there, as long as it takes. Sometimes you need to do it 2 times or 3 times. You do it, everybody should do it. Do it to yourself, one thing that you wanted to do, that one closet, that one drawer you wanted to clean out, and you're just going to get to it, the attic, that one box in the garage that you wanted to empty out, I don't know how long, or you want to do something. Just stand in the garage, look at that box. I'm talking like a month here, not everybody has a garage. I grew up in Borough Park. I know it's a luxury garage. We grew up in an apartment with 2 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms, size of my parents. We had 2 bunk beds in the room. And we're living in a house where my kids are complaining, I have to sleep with this one. We'll have 25 bedrooms, they'll need more. Kids said, so you take one box, take one thing, one mission that you wanted to do so many times, visualize it done, and then feel it done. The key is to feel it. Feel how it feels when you're going to walk around and whatever it is, you're going to walk to the garage and the box is not here anymore, or whatever is what you want to do. But must feel it. Open up your eyes, see it not done. Close your eyes, do it again. You're going to be so surprised how powerful this tool is. Unbelievable. I'm telling you. Huh?
What's the acronym again?
TFTD. Think, feel, things done. Think, feel, things done. Feel it, done. That's the method. I don't know. I didn't see too many. Yeah.
Use it for classmates or siblings to tell them the other one is like this.
How chushev they are. How chushev they are?
Much there to allow them to perceive it in a better way.
Yeah. Start calling them names. People live up to their names.
To him himself.
You're a smart boy. Say you're a smart boy. You're a smart boy. Every time you do it again at this point, he starts acting smart.
Using the siblings to reinforce this.
Oh, to use this, yeah, you have to make a. I guess you have to have a family meeting for that.
You have a kid that his perception of others is what's holding him back.
Also true.
He doesn't want to go to yeshiva because he perceives his class a certain way.
Yeah, and also because it's difficult, as we said before. It's very difficult to be in a class. Something that his nature or his what he's used to doing doesn't fit into that class, so he feels like a failure between those boys. Whatever it is, if it's the amount of learning, if it's too long, today's days you still have in 2022, you have bucherim that go to yeshiva, they have to sit 2.5 hours a shir. Someone should do it to me. I'm gonna explode. I can't do that. I can't sit on a wooden bench for every single day in the morning and then every single day in the afternoon. Nachamul. Some kids push it through. They pull through the yeshiva times, and some kids they can't anymore. We have to send them. Sometimes if it doesn't work out, you send them to another yeshiva, which even though academically it's shvachir, it's less, and other things less, but at least over there he'll be successful. He'll be considered a good boy, rather than being the not such good boy in the class. Always put your kids one class down, then one class up. Always. I do with my kids. I have 3 boys that are born in Uder, Chodesh Uder. So you can put them one class up or down. It's mamash that I always put them one down. Rather let them be the smarter kid in the class, and he should label himself as a good kid than being the youngest in the class. Being the youngest is a big problem.
And not going to have a stimulus to go better.
Everybody has a stimulus to go better. We're never worried. That's what we said before. The Bashan said we don't need to worry for that. Everybody wants to be better. Or you don't believe it, or you know what?
What if you have a kid who just doesn't enjoy getting compliments?
A kid doesn't enjoy getting compliments?
He just doesn't enjoy hearing compliments.
Wow, that means he needs it so much. The kid that doesn't let you hug them, that's the kid that needs it every single day, 25 times.
The kid sort of scrimps and he just doesn't enjoy getting a compliment. He kind of feels it.
Okay, that means he needs it, but I'll give you an aitzah. What you should do is you should do compliments with a question. By the way, compliment with a question. Man, I'm talking to you. You compliment the other side. You compliment your wife, always with a question. How did you do that? It's amazing. Not the cake is delicious. How did you do that? And she'll start explaining to you what she did. Your kid comes home from school and they made an arts and crafts. And you say, wow, it's beautiful. Zayigit. But if you compliment with a question, they have time to explain. And they say, you know what I did? I was thinking of this color and I could have put this glue and that and I built it and I had to explain it. That's a compliment. It's not only a compliment, that's something that's actually building them. So a kid that doesn't want to take compliments, ask more questions that they're going to have to compliment themselves. Any other question?
How you doing, Shloime?
It sounds like, yeah, go ahead.
What do you do with a kid doesn't like to have compliments, doesn't like to hear this? And no, don't say it. You don't need to say it.
You don't need to say it. A kid that says it is coming from 2 places. Or because they need it even more, like we said to him. Or they don't believe that you mean it. But if they believe you and you really mean it, say it again. That's the only way you're allowed to violate your kid. Against their will. Give them a compliment. Tell them how special they are. And again, with questions. Ask them a question. It's amazing. If you're speeding, how do you know how to do that? Always ask a question. This is the best compliment. It's solid. It's real. And don't walk away when they start explaining. Just sit there and listen. Yeah. Done? Thank you.